Roblox has recently had its latest event titled the Hunt Mega Edition. As I've done a review with almost all the modern Roblox events that start with the, I feel compelled to make a video on this one too. This is the first video I've made with a script. All my other videos were basically improvised on the spot. If I'm lucky, this will increase the quality of my videos by a large margin. This video consists of 4 sections: the game choices, the normal quests, the mega token quests, and the items. Without further ado, let's get into the games here were actually relatively solid, except for a couple of bad eggs, pun intended. We've got some very solid choices, such as Arsenal, Pressure, Natural Disaster Survival, and Tower Defense Simulator. We also have some not so good choices, such as Pet Simulator, Fish, Metro Life, and Bayside High School. Without even going into the games, I know what's going to be good and what's not. Everybody already knew that Pet Simulator would be horrible, while games like Pressure and Arsenal would be really good. There's not much else to say about the games. Every other game there is relatively mediocre. With my personal opinion on the games themselves over, let's get onto the Disclaimer: this is just my rating of the normal quests. If you just so happen to disagree with my opinion, you're wrong. On to the ranking. We all knew this one would be bad, and it lived up to expectations. The quest followed the player doing a Lucky Raid event. Not really related to the hunt. I was lucky enough to get my friend who plays this game a lot to beat it for me in like 20 seconds. 1 out of 10. I don't even know why this game got chosen for the hunt. It's repetitive and borderline stupid. The quest consists of you biking to different landmarks on the map and taking a selfie. I didn't know that I had to take a selfie. I had to do this quest twice because I didn't know I had to take a selfie at it. 1.1 out of 10, I guess. This task removed at least 5 neural connections in my brain. 1.5 out of 10. This quest consisted of you getting 200 points. It doesn't say how to get these points, but it's basically just assumed that you get them by doing damage and staying alive, I guess. It's just to play the game normally until you win. 2.2 out of 10. Play the game normally until you win. 2.5 out of 10. These next couple ones are all basically the same. It's just play the game normally until you win. Like Untitled Attack Game, Natural Disaster Survival, Rivals, Blade League, Hell's Kitchen, Renovator, and somewhat Fish. We're all just play the game normally until you get the token. 2.65 out of 10. This task actually required some skill to it. The task involved you going into a pretty easy bot in a 4v1 with your other team members. Depending on your team, you'll have a good time or the worst time known to man. One member of my team actually knew how to use a keyboard, so I had an easy time. Other members, I think, were all just 5-year-olds slobbering on their iPad. 4 out of 10. I mean, it was alright. The task consisted of doing a series of repetitive tasks. I was thankfully locked in, and it only took me about an hour 30 to complete it. I used to play this game quite a bit. I had to use a tutorial to find out how to upgrade my car. Other than that, it was relatively solid. 5 out of 10. This was the first token I got. It wasn't really bad, but it wasn't too good either. I feel like it did the bare minimum difficulty and effort-wise. The task was basically just grabbing food items around the map and throwing them at a giant NPC. It didn't take long, it was really repetitive, and that's about it. 6 out of 10. Well, I didn't expect this one to make the top 10. But the top 10 spot for this goes to Bayside High School. Honestly, it came out of left field. I thought it was going to be basically Metro Life, but it involved doing like a little Crossy Road game instead, which is actually really fun. It was easy, though, so 6 out of 10. This task was pretty fun. It was just way too easy. You just did an incredibly easy dungeon, I guess, and then another very easy boss fight, 6.5 out of 10. This task to get the normal token consisted of doing 4 thematically appropriate obbies, I guess you could say. They were pretty easy, so yeah, 6.7 out of 10.
I'm SpongeBob.
I'll say this before and I'll say it again. I love tower defense game. I just like making fast decisions and stuff like that, I guess. They have a lot of charm most of the time. SpongeBob Tower Defense was, while incredibly easy, it was still very fun because it was a tower defense game. 6.8 out of 10. So I wasn't expecting to have so much fun with this one. I knew I would have a little bit of fun because I would be doing this with one of my friends, but I didn't expect to be having so much fun. So depending on your partner, you could have had a blast, or you could have wanted to jump off a 7-story building. I was lucky enough to have my friend helping me with this. I say helping very, very loosely. And we had a blast, 7 out of 10. I don't know if this map was made specifically for the event, but if it was, this is definitely deserving of this spot. For the task, you had to complete an event map, which included about, I think, 3-4 boss fights, and each increasing in difficulty. I got the same buddy, Odin, who I got to play Chain Together with, to do it with me, and we had so much fun with this one. It had a lumberjack, it had like a miner guy, and a dollar store version of Elsa, so 3 bosses. This is definitely deserving of the number 5 spot. I had a lot more fun with this than I thought I would have. We all knew it would be good just because the hunt one was really good. But the goal was just to knock out 2 different enemies in a boxing match. 8 out of 10. I just love tower defense games. I feel like if I didn't like them, this ranking would be very different. This event reminded me a lot of the previous events, but it was short, sweet, simple, 8.2 out of 10. We all knew this one would be good. That was a given when this was chosen for the event. The quest involved going through 40 different rooms while a Weeping Angel type enemy chases you. The gist of that is that if you look at it, it doesn't move, but if you look away, it does move. You'll occasionally have run-ins with a 4-legged spiky creature called Rebarb, and you'll have to like flash it with a flashlight to get it to run away. Another enemy will also pop up sporadically. It's like the rush from Doors. You'll have to stay close to the Weeping Angel type enemy to know when this guy's coming. Very well done event. 8.5 out of 10. I had so much fun with this. I love shooter games. I'm not particularly good at them, but I really just like them. This was a sequel to the previous Arsenal Hunt event from a year ago. While not as good as the previous one, I feel like it lived up to expectations, sort of. The task picked right up after you got the badge from the first event. You would have to escape the facility to destroy all the robot guards. It was much less stealthy, which I didn't like. It was also way too easy. Oh my gosh! Dude, that was a horror game. You will eventually get caught by the guards, and there's pretty clever puzzle section to escape. But the task ends right after the puzzle. 8.9 out of 10. We had some pretty solid choices. I had a decent time playing about half of them. Most of the tasks were lackluster, to say the least. Most of the critiques from the first hunt carry over to the second, those being no common theme, slop games, pets in Metro Life, and just bad looking items. We'll go into the items later now, but for now let's get into the This section right here is why the Hunt Mega Edition is the best event in modern Roblox. Most of the Mega Token quests were like fun. They were actually challenging. And it was just so awesome seeing how most of these games did their quests. Most. Remember that word. Most. This task was so unmemorable that I had to watch a walkthrough to write this script. The task had you talk to random NPCs around the map and do like super easy quests. 1 out of 10. The task was so weird for this one. You had to knock on some doors and click some clovers. And the worst thing is, the people who had to find this out, I was lucky enough to just do the tutorial for this one. The people who had to find this out, it took them so long, and I feel so bad. Because there was no feedback for anything you did. 1.1 out of 10. This had you doing a bunch of random things around the map and then getting teleported to another Crossy Road game. So I have no prior knowledge on Bayside High School at all. I had no idea what I was doing was the right thing, except for the little text that would appear on the bottom. I don't know how people figured this out, but apparently there were clues. I couldn't find a single one. But yeah, good job people who figured this out. 1.3 out of 10. This task was probably the laziest one by effort, like Pet Simulator normal token quest levels of effort. But I guess it was fine. I didn't enjoy it. You just had to walk around the map. Well, some clues appeared to tell you to put on certain items. This was genuinely such a lackluster task. 2 out of 10. This task required doing readily specific tasks like getting a key from the derby finishing screen and doing all the crushers in row 1. After that, a secret door would open and you could get the token. It was pretty easy, but it needed work. 4 out of 10. To get the token for this task, you had to flip a lever, find 3 signs. Each of these signs had a shape and a corresponding letter with that shape. After that, you had to go to the practicing court and then shoot a number of baskets with the signs on the same shape with the number. It sounds very confusing when you just say it, but it's not at all. After that, you would have to do like a boss fight, sort of. It was really easy. 4.5 out of 10. This task was alright. If you ignore the central part of the quest, you had to roll a little hamster ball for 30 minutes. I don't know if I'm just not very good at this. I was about to crash out until I got the hamster ball to the little platform where it'd be sent to look for the code. Now this part was actually pretty good. The code had like little alien symbols, which were a little difficult to mark down. But I eventually got the token, and I had an alright time, 4.6 out of 10. This task was actually alright. You had to turn some pillars into the right order, like in around 10 seconds, and then you would have to complete a timed maze while it filled up with fish equivalent to neurotoxin from Portal. Once you did that, you had to go to a little side room and complete an obby and listen to Cthulhu to get some music. The notes in this music included triplets, half notes, eighth notes, and a treble clef. I don't know why the treble clef is there, but there's not much I can do. When you're done with that, you gotta catch fish, and each fish will have a corresponding note, and you would have to place them in the order of the same note order as Cthulhu's song. Overall, it was very clever. 5 out of 10. The task at hand was apparently so bad the Discord got raided. Good thing I didn't do it when it was so bad. I was lucky enough to do it after it was nerfed. So basically you had to find a pair of goggles and then kill people to spell out the word Mega Hunt. It would reset every round though. I only had to do it just to spell out mega because they nerfed it because it was apparently so difficult. I don't know. I did it in like 3 minutes. It was easy. 5.5 out of 10. This task was actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be. So the task involved you going into a game and then looking at the little light board and then putting that into a computer thing in a second game. How did they get this just from like a studio standpoint? I don't even know how you would even start with this. After that, you'd have to do like an obby to find like some thief who stole your recipe. Then you'd have to go into a game and collect little recipe fragments, I guess. Then when you did that, you had to make that for dinner. Once you did that, you would have to go back into the section with the computers and chase them down again. 5.9 out of 10. This was a puzzle where you could find 4 notes around the map and make a code with them. After that, you would solve some little mini games, and yeah, 6.8 out of 10. This task, puzzle-wise, was probably one of the most clever puzzles I could think of. It involved the little unnamed man, I guess. I don't really know what his name is, aside from that. On some of the maps, you need to talk to him and get clues on what the map's disasters will be. I have one issue with this, though. It was pay to win, alright? In private servers, if you own the private server, you can choose a map and stuff like that. So, I bought a private server, wasted a lot of Robux, and just to do this in like 10 minutes, 6 out of 10. In Blade League, you have to find like 4 numbers and enter a code. It was honestly super easy just to get the code, but then you got teleported to a boss fight. It was pretty fun, you know? It was really easy though. It was fun though, so 7 out of 10. The task was incredibly tedious for the first 20 minutes or so, because you're just running around looking for 3 things. But after that, it was like so fun. The puzzle was difficult to explain, but I'll explain it as best I can. You take the 3 crystals you found, and you take the color of them to find a code on the wall. But the code has different letters, so you're gonna have to add up all the colored letters, and that's gonna be your number for that color. After that, you are sent to a Souls-esque boss fight, which is way too easy. 7 out of 10. This one was actually alright. It involved shooting targets, which were 45 degrees rotated. Bit tedious, but alright. And then going into the 3v3 mode and killing people and taking scrolls from their corpses. Once you got all the scrolls, you could do a difficult boss fight against a turret. The turret was pretty difficult, actually, but it was really fun. 7.2 out of 10. Now, I wasn't expecting much from this one, especially with the normal token task, but I was pleasantly surprised. You had to just do a basic fetch quest for 3 batteries, but then you had to watch a little news broadcast, and you would have to do some puzzles and obbies. The puzzles were pretty clever, and I actually didn't need to watch a tutorial for this one, so yeah. After that, you need to do a pretty easy boss fight. I don't even know how you would lose here, and it was relatively fun. 7.5 out of 10. This task involved you just doing an obby with little batteries that explode after every 10 seconds of you carrying them. Once you form a portal with those batteries though, you get teleported to a boss fight. A boss fight against like a mad scientist robot, and then turns to a zombie or something. I don't even remember. It was really fun though, difficult. You won't get a more simple explanation than that. It was fun, challenging. 8 out of 10. I thought that this was going to be another bad task, but I was pleasantly surprised. You had to find a randomly spawning button, and then find an egg and give it to the giant noob. Once you did that, you got teleported to the actual good part of the task. You now had to reach a summit on the classic Roblox Egg Hunt 2012 map. I think that's what it was, I don't know. There's an egg, however, that chases you and deletes parts as you attempt to get to the summit. It was really challenging, but boy was it fun. 8.5 out of 10. This was a pretty clever puzzle that involved having limited visibility. You had to first climb up an invisible rope, and then you just gotta find your way around like a maze and up some stuff. Whatever, it's confusing, but you had to do it with limited visibility. You would have to do some color mini games. I don't know how that even fits into the lore, but whatever. It was fun. It was really challenging though in some sections. But after that, you would face off against a tough boss, which I did first try. But it was really fun. 8.5 out of 10. I'll be honest, I thought this one was going to be better than it was, but hey, it was still awesome. It had you making just a random device, which not really the best part of the task, but whatever. After this, it turns you into a turn-based fighting game, which was way too easy. I think that's the only nitpick I have with this, way too easy. It just had you attacking the robots, and yeah, after that you kill a tank and get cornered. You know, turn games aren't really my cup of tea, but I definitely respect this one. 8.7 out of 10. This one was literally just a tower defense game with SpongeBob. What more could you want? But the task involved you searching for little X's around the map and digging them up to get a map. Once you do that, you go to the trading area, talk to the Flying Dutchman, then go down, find a key, and do a maze. After that, you get sent to a teleport. You get teleported to a tower defense area. Honestly, super difficult for the first token, but it was so incredibly fun. 8.8 out of 10. Tower defense simulator. It's gonna be good quality. It involved just putting a little code into a computer, then doing a pretty simple but slightly difficult 20 wave tower defense round that was relatively higher quality than the SpongeBob tower defense game. 9 out of 10. This task involved you and one other person completing a difficult obby with puzzles. I did this with my buddy Jackson, and we had an incredibly fun time. It was streamed, so yeah, if you want to watch that, just there. It was challenging enough for us to have fun, but easy enough so that it wasn't totally unfair. Depending on your partner, this could have been one of the best ones or one of the worst ones. Jackson was pretty good at obbies though, so it was relatively easy to knock out. 9.1 out of 10. It's pressure. What more could you want? This is genuinely such a good game. But the task involved you opening a locked door on the event rooms with a code that you get from the lobby. Once you do that, you receive the decoder. With the decoder, you'll need to find 5 radios around the map and decode them using the decoder. Once you do that, you'll get into a secret door at the end and put in the code that you decoded. Then you need to complete another set of rooms while being chased by the same enemies while finding 30 Megashard fragments. Then you'll get into the vault and be awarded the token. 9.5 out of 10. Well, here we are, the #1 spot on Title Attack Game. After the first quest, I wasn't expecting much from here, but the quest was a stealth campaign, much like Arsenal, and it was so incredibly well thought out, well planned, well detailed. It was genuinely so fun. It first consisted of finding blue portals around the main game and interacting with them. After that, you'll be forced into a sailing control drone to check up on the other prisoners. There are Easter eggs here, and it is incredibly interesting. It is just the first area. It's so cool. After that, you'll crash the drone into the roof of your cell, where you'll be given a screwdriver. You can use it in the future. After that, you're let out of your cell on break, and you go into a secret room, and using the screwdriver, you can use that room to open a vent and go into a different area. This different area, you are told the directions of what you need to do. Shut off everything, and which will explode the reactor. After that, you'll be forced into like stealth mode, I guess, where personally, it's just so fun. The music is good, the graphics are good, the sound design is great. Seriously, you'll need to do 2 obbies, and with these obbies you'll shut down everything, and then you'll be going to a tram to the 3rd section where you just put into random buttons and hope it works, or well, that's what I did. Keep in mind, you're doing all of this while not trying to get seen by the guards, or you could just kill them and that'll work too. Once you do the puzzle section, you have to get out of the exploding facility, and once you do that, you're also not done. Now you need to parkour around a beautiful looking classic city area. Honestly, masterclass of a quest, and I think the best thing in this whole event. 10 out of 10. I'll be honest, there was this really boring part where I ranked all the items, but it's such a drag out. Like, this video's taken long enough. So yeah, here's just the tier list. There we go. Now it's time for my closing. This event is, I think, the best modern Roblox event ever. While the normal token quests were lacking in most areas, the mega token quests were actually fun and good. While some critiques from the first hunt carry over to the second, that being no common theme and slop games, this event was honestly a pretty fun time with pretty bad items, but hey, the event was pretty fun.